It's morning again. Okay. This is not going to be about the right to bear arms. That's a different problem, the Second Amendment, which has been like don't get me started. This is about a Russian writer and something else. So in the 60s, 1967, I got into a relationship with a extremely brilliant woman who was studying Russian literature, Russian linguistics, and COBOL programming. Give you an idea, right? Brain. She introduced me to Russian literature, and I was just blown away. Dostoevsky, Gogol, Tolstoy, on and on. And more modern, Nabokov, Vladimir Nabokov. Amazing writers. And obviously, Russia, tough place. Tough place. Especially if you end up in Siberia, because you happen to be intelligent and you have good ideas, and the government is not happy with intelligence and good ideas. So I'm going to move to modern times, and I'm going to take off my bear paws, which are significant of Russia. Obviously, that's pretty good, right? Okay, here they go. Oh my God, hot little hands. Okay, this is gone. And cheers. Good morning. So we're going to move into modern times. New York City. I moved back to New York City from Mexico in 1980, and, slowly began to make friends who didn't last, and meet other people who, most of them I didn't really like. But I got along as best I could. But there was a problem in New York City. A lot of buildings have doormen. And when you go into a building with a doorman, you have to announce yourself. So they ask you your name, you sign in, you tell them your name, they call the party to whom you're going to visit, they give them your name, then the person says, okay, let them in, and then they send you to the elevator bank, and you go up in the elevator, and that's a laborious process, and it is a pain in the ass. And I don't know how this occurred to me, but one day I went into a building to visit an artist. It was actually to visit an accountant, which is a whole other story in itself. And the doorman asked my name, and I said, Dostoevsky. And he went, what? I said, Dostoevsky. And he said, go to the elevator. And then I heard him call up as I was going to the elevator, and he said, your party is on the way up. And I went, solution. From that day on, every time I went to an elevated building with a doorman, I would say Dostoevsky. And this was many times, because I ended up knowing a lot of different places that have doormen. So I had a friend, and again, Bob Dylan once sang in a song, he said, friends will arrive and friends will disappear. And we all know that that's true. So I had a friend, an artist with somewhat of a reputation, some of it not so good. He had moved across the river to Jersey City, and he moved into a luxury high-rise, and he had a penthouse. And the building had a huge lobby with an enormous reception desk, and then steps up to the elevator bank. So I went in and I said, hi, I'm here to see so-and-so. And he said, may I ask who's calling? I said, Dostoevsky. Suddenly, from the elevator bank, a woman came out from behind the elevator bank where she had been waiting for an elevator, and she goes, "Oh my God, are you related to Dostoevsky?" And I said, "Yes, I am. I'm a great-great-grandson." She said, "Oh, now wait, my best friend is studying Russian literature. Let me call her." The doorman's looking at me. I'm looking at the doorman. She gets on her cell phone and she says, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe there's a man in the lobby here who's the great-grandson of Dostoevsky." And then she says, "My friend says that Dostoevsky was never married." And I said, "Tell her that I'm illegitimate." What? Okay. So there's two epilogues to this. One, Dostoevsky was married, and not happily, because Dostoevsky was a runaround dog. He liked women, and it was a matter of record. But he did marry, and he had children, and they had children. So whoever was studying Russian literature and was studying Dostoevsky was getting her information probably from the Trump campaign. No, that Trump campaign didn't exist, because this would be, in the 90s or the 2000s somewhere. Could be even, I don't remember, but let's just say the late 90s or the early 2000s. Okay, so that's the first one, and enough said that Dostoevsky was married and was a rascal, notwithstanding his depressions, which I'm sure got worse when he went up north to a prison camp. Now, furthermore, after that event, I started signing my emails and letters as Jeffrey Lehrer, great illegitimate grandson of Fyodor Dostoevsky, which I found very funny because, I am a visual artist and a writer, and I thought it was hilarious. Well, people started asking me, "Are you really the great-grandson of Fyodor Dostoevsky?" And you'd be surprised how many people would ask. And I said, "Well, yes, illegitimately so." "Well, oh my God, that would never," well, it's not in the history books. And that's the first epilogue. The second epilogue is amazing. There are very few living relatives left of Fyodor Dostoevsky. I believe at this point there are 5 in the world. One of his relatives, a great-great-granddaughter, is living in a small Russian town in a cold water walk-up, living in absolute grinding poverty with hardly enough to eat and bare blankets on her bed, and she'd never heard of Fyodor Dostoevsky and had no idea that she was his blood relative. That's my story.